Good day everyone. I want to share my thoughts on God of War Ragnarok. I was super excited about the game, and Ragnarok is the first game I bought right on the release date. In 2 weeks or so, I beat the game, I got platinum, tried every activity in the game and got 100% in every region. Ever since I wanted to talk about the game and discuss it, but no one around me played Ragnarok, so I decided to make a video about it. And I hope you will enjoy this video. Let's get started. The events of the Ragnarok takes place after 3 years from the previous game. Long story short, after they've killed Baldur, Fimbulwinter comes to all 9 realms, and Kratos and Atreus spend the time training and preparing for Ragnarok. Little conflict grows between the father and the son, because Atreus doesn't like that Kratos isn't taking any action. Meanwhile, the Asgardian gods start to make their own moves. The plot in Ragnarok is great. It's a simple story about, obviously father and the son, about fate and its role in people's lives, with stories about how people trying to prevent the prophecy from coming true unknowingly contribute to this prophecy becoming true with their own actions. Is fate really an absolute power that bends to nothing? While some characters are obsessed with finding ways to prevent what's coming, Kratos keeps this Giga Chad position of it is what it is. Roughly from what I understood, Kratos comes to the conclusion that running from your fate is stupid. There might be fate or grand scheme of things, but at the end of the day, we are the ones that forge our stories, that give meaning to them. That if there's an action that we know we should take and the prophecy predicts it, we shouldn't abandon being ourselves in order to prevent the prophecy. Thus it leads to the same result, only much more bitter and full of regret.
Brock, what do you think about fate?
I don't. Either your life's all written down somewhere or it ain't. Still feels like you're making choices either way. Shit smells the same regardless of how it got shat.
Remind me to write that down.
Well, I might be completely wrong about the story, and if you understood it the other way, please let me know in the comments. Anyway, the story is great, and in my opinion, what makes Ragnarok better than the first game is the story dynamics. You see, the first game had a decent story, very good I'd say, but at the same time it felt a little stiff to me, and from time to time the events that were happening didn't feel too God of War-ish. But Ragnarok takes it to another level. The events are more epic, the story is more interesting. Throughout the game there wasn't any time where I was like, damn, this part is boring, I wish it ended soon. It's packed with interesting stuff, and somehow it reminded me of the OG trilogy in terms of the scale of the story and the villains we meet. Characters have depth in them, they don't feel lifeless. Every character, even the villains, have their own struggles, good moments and bad moments. You can see that Atreus has grown up.
If you wish to abandon this creature, we will leave.
I don't want to abandon it. If we have to kill a bunch of Dark Elves to get there.
I remember a young lad whom, until this very moment, would take on an army of Draugr to save a wounded animal.
Aren't undead Draugr. They're elves. I just want to make sure we're not repeating the same mistakes. Getting involved where we shouldn't.
Every character is unique and interesting in their own way. Antagonists are not just some bad guys. Well, they are bad guys, but it's not so simple. At some point, I even thought, damn, maybe Odin is right. Maybe we should have done as Odin said. Maybe we are the bad guys. To conclude, I wanted to say the story is great and the characters are even better. Combat in the first game was fun, so why fix what's not broken? The combat in Ragnarok hasn't changed much, but somehow it became more interesting and juicier than in the first game. Maybe because of the game dynamics. It's a lot of fun trying out all the armor and the perks that they give. Try to mix them with the relics ability or passive perks that talismans give to get the best experience out of the combat system. Even though the main bosses aren't that difficult, Boss fights are interesting and cinematic. They just feel cool and consist of little cool details. For example, when you fight Thor for the first time, and if you die, you'll see the standard loading screen, but seconds later, you hear Thor saying something like, "I haven't done with you yet," and he revives you using Mjolnir. That was so cool and unexpected. Also, there are lots of side bosses, a big variety of them. There are dragons and all sorts of creatures. They are fun to fight and have interesting lore to them. When Sony announced that Ragnarok will be both on PS4 and PS5, I was happy because I didn't have PS5. But a lot of gamers were concerned that release on PS4 meant graphics wouldn't be improved that much. Now, I don't know how it looks on PS5, but my god, Ragnarok looks amazing on PS4. I don't know how the devs managed it, but on my PS4 Slim, I haven't experienced any frame drops at all. Well, of course, there were a couple times when the game crashed, but I don't know any game that doesn't crash on PS4. The graphics were definitely improved and the performance on PS4 is great. In Ragnarok, besides the main story, there's a ton of stuff to do. There are obvious ones that are shown on the map and written in the codex, and there are some hidden ones like troll boss fights. The side missions are decent, they are fun to do, and they shed some more light on the game lore. The game regions are unique and interesting to explore. There are activities like killing all of Odin's ravens, collecting all flowers, and doing the Muspelheim trials. And to be honest, I find them a little exhausting, but in some cases the reward is worth it. For example, if you kill all of Odin's ravens, you get a little piece of lore plus a boss fight. After you beat the game, it is still fun to explore the world because you can stumble upon some characters and find out what happened to them after Ragnarok. To conclude, I want to say that God of War Ragnarok is a great game. It is a great sequel and is 100% better than the God of War of 2018. It's a shining example of a good blockbuster AAA action game that has both a good story and fun gameplay. If I had to rate, I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. Though after completing it, I feel like there is still something left behind about Norse mythology, and I hope we will get some kind of a spin-off about Loki and the Norse gods. Well, that's all I had in mind. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Good luck.